and welcome everybody to episode. I forgot what episode What If's on. Is it 5? Is it 5?
I think so. Yeah.
I think it's 5. It's an episode number. Episode blank. It's the one with the zombies. We all know it's the one.
It's all you need to know. It's all you need to know.
Even the title's just like zombies. And it's like yes. What if zombies?
Explanation mark. Yeah.
So as always, I'm Mitch. You can follow me on Twitter, Mitch692, and of course, I'm joined by Sean.
Hey, you can join me on Martian_12 on Instagram, and yep, that's it.
So we finally have Marvel Zombies in the MCU. It's vastly
and
different
it's cool
to the Marvel Zombies run, obviously. Vastly different.
For a positive, a little bit more positive. I love that storyline.
I've seen people say like this episode kind of didn't really do that. Oh, what if something changed? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what they were trying to get at. It's just like, they didn't really do like the what if for the MCU. It's just like, well, of course they did. Right.
Yeah, it's
you change anything in the event, and it's going to be a what if. Like, as simple as that.
Yeah.
But this is definitely the more not the most like classic case of a what if, because I think the Doctor Strange one as well was a very classic case of what if. But it's felt the more.
I mean, it did have a good end, a what if ending. Towards the end. So I mean,
terrifying.
It did fall in line with that motif.
But I liked how they. What am I looking for? Kickstarted it. The catalyst for the whole zombie thing. It's like, right, well, me and Armin were saying about it. It's like they couldn't really do this in Endgame because of like you have half the people there. So it's like, when do we have everyone in a very similar spot on the planet? It's like how do we get it going? It's like, well, you can have Bruce come, like the second Bruce comes down. It's like, well, what happened just before that? Oh, well, we now know officially that Ant-Man and the Wasp is 2 weeks before Infinity.
Yeah.
Opposed to like happening at the same time, some people thought. Which obviously the post-credit scene happens at the same time because the snap.
Yeah.
The movie itself is 2 weeks before.
I gotta say though, like what I loved about this episode was like it MCU-ified the storyline, and they used it felt like they used the resources of the MCU to good effect. I loved the fact that it basically started with Hank going to the quantum well. I mean, like Janet, that kind of it makes sense, like that. Let's say that couldn't have happened, because nobody knows what the quantum well was.
It's true, yeah. It's like they even say it in the movies, like you don't know what they're going to be like when they come back. Like you don't know.
Yeah.
They could have anything wrong with them, and it's like, yeah, in this one she did. Though yet again they've done Janet Day. What is it with Janet?
Well, I felt like Janet was more of a.
She gets taken out of Avengers because of Edgar Wright, and it's like, oh, poor Janet.
Well, I feel like Janet was like a plot device or a MacGuffin for this episode, for most of these episodes, like that she was involved with. You have to have someone serve the purpose.
You do, and I am only joking, but it's like
Yeah.
Out of the last 3, it's been Ant-Man has been really the catalyst, and it's kind of like, oh, Ant-Man and Wasp, man.
Yeah.
It's like everything that goes bad is your fault. It's just like, okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is Hank's. If it's not Ultron in the comics.
In fact, Hank is, in the last month, Hank has killed Captain America twice. Well, actually, no, he didn't kill Captain America. He's killed the Avengers twice.
Twice, yeah. I was gonna say, he's destroyed the Avengers at least twice in What If.
It's almost like they're really trying to get across that like Hank is an angry man and a very dangerous man.
Yeah, I mean,
what's the worst that can happen?
Across in the movies,
a bad Hank is a really bad thing to happen.
Yeah, it's like in the movies he's a playful angry, but in the What If series it's like
he's
angry. Yeah, he's a murderer.
Murderous and cannibalistic.
And it kind of makes sense too, because it's like in that first episode with him with Loki, it's like, yeah, I can see that happening. Hank is like one he's crossing one line away from being that person anyways.
Yeah.
And in this episode, he was like that in the movies. He's like, I'll do anything to get this character, her back. So like,
yeah.
Like that even means going to a realm, where they don't know what. I mean, it could have happened in the movies this way. Who knows?
Yeah.
And it could have been, good. But like, yeah, I love the reveal of the cat, like how it all worked out, because that was like when I first heard about the series being made, I was like, that's kind of, and I heard the episodes were going to be, one of the episodes was going to be the Marvel Zombies. I was like, how are they going to do this?
Yeah.
And you keep it in the MCU tone, and like I feel like they did a pretty good job of that.
This is the one where I'm surprised it wasn't first, because people have been clamoring for Marvel Zombies, and Marvel Zombies has always been one of like the highest held events and like stories they've ever done. Like it's famous at this point. But...
Well, I think they were saving this episode to be more of a I feel like and I don't want to say this in a negative way, but I feel like the Captain Carter episode was kind of like, let's just get this out of the way and get this character revealed, and I feel like that them doing the Marvel Zombies a little bit later in the series was more of like, hey, this is a reward, like you've gone through a lot of this. Maybe not every one of the episodes is like your cup of tea, but like I think they knew that this was going to be a bigger hit, with fans, so like they're like, it's like with any episode.
Because Captain Carter, like ever since they made her in that video game, like she's been huge. Like she's just literally taken off with like.
I didn't want to say that in a negative, like.
Oh no, I get what you meant. It's just like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just the reaction of. Oh, God.
I don't know, because like when people saw her for the What If, like people loved that.
Yeah, I mean,
but like, was it the best episode? Like, yeah, I still say it's definitely the weakest one so far. You can tell it was a pilot.
Yeah, and I don't think they didn't go into the show going, we're gonna put the weakest one at the beginning, but like like I think they wanted to get that character revealed and like on the board as soon as possible, and I feel like that was the best way to do that, is just like just begin the episode, like the series, with that. And like I feel like as the series goes on, it gets progressively and again, not saying this negatively, but better, because it's
definitely
each episode after that just got stronger and stronger, in my opinion.
I definitely agree. They've done it in the right order, I find.
Yeah.
Like, and none of them are like outright bad. Like the first one was definitely the weakest one. Like there's a bit of teething problems with it, but as it's gone on, it's got.
Yeah, and like again, like I love every episode. I'm saying this as a fan perspective. But like I think this is like this and the Loki one are probably my favorite episodes so far, because like coincidentally, I just love
I'd have to say the Doctor Strange one in this one. Last week's
I take it back. That maybe that's like in my I guess that's cheating by saying that's my top 3.
I was gonna say, to be honest, my top 3 so far are the last 3.
Yeah,
like hands down, the last 3.
Maybe at the end of the series, we could probably have a little fun and rank them, in order of favorites, at least favorite.
Yeah,
but like, but I feel like this episode kind of served MCU fans and served comic book fans very well. It balanced it out really well.
Yeah.
And it gave us all those money shots, like I think everybody that I talked to before that episode aired was like, oh, are we just going to see Captain America because that was in the promo and stuff like that? But I was like, no, you're going to see a lot more in terms of like characters, and like, I love the reveal. I love Happy. I love Dave DeShmalshians, I love the little group that they built.
Yeah, it was a real like ragtag. Like just
it was like a motley crew.
Yeah, it's just like, of course, Happy survived. It was nice.
And it's all the characters.
The watch from Civil War. That was a nice touch.
Yeah, and it's all these characters. Is like they don't normally you wouldn't normally see all these characters together, but it kind of works because like I love the whole each character reveal. You know, like especially Happy. Happy was probably my one of my favorites. You know, just him going bam, blam, blam. You know, and like it's like, yeah, that's exactly what Happy would probably say if he had
Probably,
a little,
yeah.
And I did get a little emotional when he did get turned, and I was like, but it works.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it definitely does work. I just like how it keeps. There's a lot of like zombie franchise Easter eggs. Like the whole
Yeah,
Spider-Man thing is clearly Zombieland,
yeah.
and it's like,
So
rule number one, rule number two, and it's like, the different people, different situations turn faster than
yeah,
others. Like Happy turned in seconds, Hope turns right after
the
her usefulness has run out. And it's just like, okay.
I gotta say though, my favorite is Hope and killing Sharon's zombie. Like that by far is like definitely one of my top
Yeah, that's
favorite
disgusting.
kills. It was gross,
Just
especially
like,
after
oh.
he's like, I got a little Sharon on me, and I'm like, oh.
Just like, oh.
But I got a little like, and then I think the second was like my second was like Bucky. Like he went out like a champ though, man. Like it did.
Bucky didn't die, did he?
I mean, it's not explicitly said whether or not he died, but he got flicked pretty far.
Oh,
Like I'm
yeah,
sure he didn't.
yeah. Wanda throws him, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, no, he's on the jet. And I was like, no, he's not on the jet. There's only the
Yeah.
three of them at the end that are on a jet.
So,
Yeah.
as a person who just watched it for the first time, was it surprising to see that the Wanda Vision thing?
Yeah. The Wanda, the Wanda bit, it was surprising, in all honesty. I'm just trying to. My brain's melting at the minute. It's just way too hard. But I know. I just honestly, it made a lot of sense with her
Yeah.
being like the problem stopping everything. And again, it's just like, what Wanda's in the way? Like we can't show any respect to Wanda. Just gotta.
Well,
She's always got to be a problem.
well, I love that. Well, I mean, like you have to have a character that's very OP to be a problem for those characters, And I feel like in the moment, I think it was a good reveal, a good twist on like,
Oh yeah, definitely.
You're thinking, okay, it's Vision, we're safe, we're good, he's doing something, but then you think about it, and it's like, it all makes sense when he does turn because he's clearly. I mean, it builds off the love story of the two characters. It's like, yeah, if you really love someone, you're gonna be irrational about it, and like it shows that like his character might have evolved a little bit more human, in terms. Because
It was that very, you always get that sort of a plot line in zombie stuff, and I can't remember what exactly they're referencing, but I know a zombie franchise has done something like that before.
Yeah.
I can't for the life of me pin down what it was that done it.
Yeah. I mean, it almost like, and I don't want to make this like, it's kind of weird to make this association, but like it reminds me of the governor character in Walking Dead, because it's like he kind of does that with his family in a way,
I say
like,
that might be what it was. I haven't seen The Walking Dead in like a decade, so I can't remember. It might be.
I mean, it does happen in a lot of zombie movies too, but like that's the first thing that kind of popped in my head is like, like he turns irrational because, like his family, and it's like, I feel like those characters, it's not a big left turn for that character. It's just it kind of is a twist, because it's like, you think that, because like up to this point, Vision's a very logical character.
Yeah.
And like the proper MCU version of the character probably wouldn't do that, but like this is a completely different character.
I was gonna say it's a what if. You can be slightly out of character or vastly out of character. Just like, ugh.
Yeah, and it kind of evolves the character a little bit faster than it would be in the MCU proper, because of like, he's more, that's a more human, decision, to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, like
Though taking T'Challa to be the food is a bit like Vision. That's a bit.
Well, it does
Vision.
take a little bit from the comics too, because it's not Vision that does it, but like that does happen into Black Panther and one of the Marvel Zombie.
Does it
series
actually?
books.
I think I've read Marvel Zombies, but if I have, it's been so long I forgot everything
Well,
about it.
yeah, I mean, I think it happens like because there's so many like versions of that comic, that they have. It wasn't in the first series, I know that, but like it does happen in a version of the
Okay.
Marvel Zombies. It kind of, I think it's interesting to see because it's like, and it's interesting to see that he's a part of the group at that point too,
Yeah.
because when they show up, he is officially an Avenger, so that makes it kind of a what if too, because it's like it's way too early for that character to be in the group, but yeah, I love the Sam.
Well, I suppose it's kind of like T'Challa really becomes an Avenger in Infinity War, doesn't he?
Yeah, I
Like,
guess it's not
really.
too far off.
So like it's the same. It's the same result from a different situation.
Yeah. So what was your favorite zombie reveal like from the episode?
Favorite zombie reveal. Something I haven't actually thought about.
I can go. You want me? Let me.
I'm gonna go really basic here and probably say the Thanos one at the end.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. Me personally, I love that first one, where like
the Iron Man and Doctor Strange and all that.
Yeah, that was just like whoa.
I was leaning on that, and I thought I was like, but is that my favorite one? I was like, you know what? No, probably the Thanos one. Even at the Thanos one, I'm like, when did he get the time stone?
Yeah.
I would have thought that the Strange would have had, but then again, you can go like, well, he got it from Strange, and that's how he turned. Like,
yeah, and the timeline of the show, it follows the basic outline of the Infinity War movie a little bit, because it does show I honestly, when I first heard and I first were talking about it, I thought that might have been the reason why, because they weren't when they were discussing the reason why the zombies came in the show, they didn't when I talked to them, it wasn't like solidified that it was the quantum realm. They were talking about it, but they were also talking about like maybe it could have been Banner, some reason for Banner, like when Banner came to Earth. But they untimely went with the quantum realm, which probably was the best choice. But like I did love that whole thing where, and again, they do the whole thing with the Banner look not really looking like
I say he doesn't really look like Ruffalo.
Yeah,
he does a
little
bit, but
bit.
not a lot. Also, I find it funny that zombies can bite through everything but the Hulk. Like, they can get through Thanos and stuff, but they can't get through Hulk.
Yeah. But but it also, I also love the whole like, it's kind of not out of character for him to go kind of like his reaction to Tony zombie eating it's just, but like I love that that reveal was like really, I mean, I knew it, but it was just like it was like a slow reveal of like the silhouettes of the character, and then all of a sudden you see them just basically jumping on Cole Obsidian.
So I like how everyone's kind of going like, because everyone's so hung up on this Spider-Man episode that got scrapped for being too dark, and people are going, they decapitate everyone in this. Like, what was too dark about the Spider-Man one? I was like, yeah, but they're decapitating zombies. Like, you do that because they're no longer people. Right.
They're literally destroying characters at this point, because like, I mean, Sharon exploded. I don't know how much more dark you could get on Sharon's zombie gets exploded. You get Captain America basically cut. I mean, and you graphically see the zombie being cut in half, and like,
and a nice little blood streak on the underside of the shield. Just like, ugh.
And I think that was a homage to the Falcon and Winter Soldier image from what they were telling me.
Yeah. Got blood in
But
the shield.
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people when they saw the promos for this, they didn't like. They thought it was going to be like a Spider-Man centric episode, but like,
Well, that's the thing. That's kind of how they because like if you look,
yeah, they marketed
if you look at everything, like the only hot toy, because you got to bring up hot toys, right?
Yet,
The only
they're
one is the Zombie Hunter Spider-Man, and they
yeah,
really pegged this episode on that. Like, obviously, then all we saw was like you saw Spider-Man with the cape, you saw Captain America and Bucky on the train, and that's all we really saw from this episode.
yeah.
So like,
Well,
it's kind of like, yeah, I get it, because I was also like, oh, this is a Spider-Man centric one.
yeah. Well, of course, like the marketing was kind of misleading a little bit, but like I think what they were trying to do was kind of they didn't want to reveal all the surprises. I mean,
No,
like,
no, I get it.
the Scott Lang thing was pretty interesting to watch. You know, I loved
Yeah,
it.
the whole
I'll be
Futurama head in the jar.
yeah, and that's exactly how I feel like they captured the character pretty well with like the puns and stuff like that, and like I but I think that they didn't really want to like give away a lot of the like a lot of the surprises for the episode because but I think they could they cut it a little bit different, sure, but I think what they went with maybe a little misleading, but it wasn't a bad thing. I don't.
Oh no, it's not a bad thing at all. It's nice to actually have surprises for a change.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, this is cool.
And it most likely isn't going to be the last of the Hot Toys for that series, that episode.
I'd hope not, because the amount of like people would absolutely get like a zombie Avengers.
Keep an eye out, man. Like like
absolutely. I wouldn't. I'd look at it and be like, I'd really want that, but I need to be strong and not buy everything.
Well, like I can tell you this though, like that zombie the Far From Home, I think Iron Man that looks like a zombie. That's kind of like a hey, if this works, we're gonna try to put out as many.
I forgot about that one.
And they got a zombie Deadpool. I think they're like they want to test the water because a lot of that stuff is like it's kind of risky with the ingenuity and stuff like that. Especially that Iron Man is very complex, on how they made it.
Well, that's why you do the what if ones, because where they're cartoons, the details are like far less.
I think like they could have done the Iron Man one a little bit. Like they could have done that. They can do that pretty cheap. Like they have the molds for the Iron Man Mark 85.
Oh yeah.
All you need is new head sculpt and couple damage. Like you might be seeing stuff like that.
So you'd probably have to do a different body just to get the angles.
Yeah, well,
and like the posture of how it stands and all that.
Yeah, yeah, I guess. You can. I think they can get away with it a little bit.
So you probably get away with like a lot of the parts to go over the arm, but like the actual body itself, you'd probably have to change up slightly, I imagine.
Yeah, I think they're gonna like where the most money goes into and this is a Hot Toys podcast, but like a lot of the money that goes into like these figures are the molds for, and like I think doing that, you could slightly modify that body and be cost effective, So all I'm saying is, Hot Toy fans, look out for next couple months. They're gonna be some reveals. Zombie Cap probably.
Oh yeah, that Zombie Cap's a no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer.
And like you can sometimes gauge like what other companies are doing with like what Hasbro's doing. Hasbro puts out like. Not to say that like just because Hasbro is putting it out, it means other companies are, but like you could get a gauge of what characters you might see coming.
Yeah, Which ones are gonna sell them? Like
and that Marvel's that Zombie Cap is, I think that would be an amazing design. And I would snatch that up if they made it in a Hot Toys. I'm snatching up the Hasbro, and I'm not a Hasbro Marvel Legends fan, but
I will say the whole from the Scarlet Witch moment onwards, like the use of the lighting in the engine for the series is this episode was definitely the best, because that really lent itself. Like it looked fantastic.
It looked like a horror film.
Yeah. with all the red everywhere. It was great. I loved it.
Yeah, and I love the. I mean, it just feels like the animation is getting supremely better.
Yeah, it's getting better as it goes along, definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel you can tell which ones they put 100%. Like they put 100% in every of them, but like you can see what like episodes that they were really wanting to showcase. You know,
Yeah.
By how much and like of course the Marvel Zombie one is 100%. You know, like that's exact when they announced that, you knew they were going to put 100%, 101% into that episode.
Yeah. They were going to go that extra mile on it. Like,
yeah.
Though I will have to say, Vision committing suicide, just to get that shot of like Infinity War with Wanda and Vision again. It's kind of like, you could have just got on the jet. You didn't have to kill yourself there. You could have like gone to a
atone yourself a little bit differently. You could have helped the group, you know.
He's like, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm taking the easy route. It's just like, okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, I completely agree. I think he would have been more effective atoning for his sins by helping the group, you know, get away.
No, but let's be honest, not that it would have mattered in the long run, regardless. No. He still would have everyone was screwed anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
what I liked about it though, there was some aspects about it that I did like, because it was like it kind of plays in line with what the character was acting like in the beginning, because that's exactly what a human would do. You know, like he would basically, kill himself, and like I think out of all of them, even I feel the other one that really kind of like, and I mentioned this in meetings before, is the baffling one was the Hope one, because it's like, what was she thinking? Like, did she think that once she turned into like Giant Man, like, did she think it wasn't going to be less of a problem? Like it felt like it was more of a problem.
Yeah, it's like you could have shrunk afterwards.
It's like, and I think the characters like her are more terrifying than any of this, because like, could you imagine
if this if this showcased one thing, is how terrifying it would actually be if these guys were bad. Like, these guys are bad, it'd be terrifying.
Like, people made fun of like Hope's and Ant-Man's character, but like, imagine them being zombies and that small. Like you would never stand a chance, because like you would never see these things. I mean, like we found out like how deadly these characters are in the last 2 episodes. Because
like, they're just always holding back.
Yeah.
I know people like there's always been like, since Infinity War, people have been like, just stop Thanos, but with Ant-Man going up his arse and all this. Yeah. And like, that would have worked. And guess what? We've seen it in the What If. Obviously not exactly the same way, but we've seen an Ant-Man destroy everyone, and we've seen the Wasp explode Sharon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was the most like, I go, that's the most like zombie movie, superhero like / superhero thing. It's like, that would be, wow. Like that's just like something you will never see in the movies.
No,
like
it's
someone
true.
just going into them and just like expanding himself.
I mean, it does make a very good case for an R-rated Wasp movie. But hey, you can get creative with this thing and just explode people from inside out.
I mean, like, you could get away with it for sure. Yeah. But like, I mean, in the end, I think, I love this episode, especially the ending. The ending made me want to see like what the heck is going to happen next, which we'll probably never see, really.
I was going to say, the ending feels more like a cliffhanger, because they're all ending on cliffhangers at the minute. But this one was more, it felt more like if they were going to go the real easy route, and it's like, they're all going to come together at the end of this thing because of Zombie Thanos. It feels more like that sort of a thing. It's like, hey, you're going to see this guy again. Though we're clearly not, because it's going to be Ultron Vision thing. But
I think that I don't know which much more terrifying is Ultron Vision or like the zombie Thanos.
I'd say about the same for different reasons.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, but I love that. I love that reveal though. Like, they think they get to Wakanda and they think they're safe, and it's like,
it's
really.
Like, no, you're not. You're anything but. You're probably safer being in the bunker in New Jersey.
I mean, you might as well just fly. I mean, like it, and it's interesting to think that you would think like what makes you think that Wakanda is going to be any different than the rest of the world at that point, even if it is like because someone's eventually going to fall into that hologram and figure that out, you know, and then next thing you know, you still have this on.
I mean, you got a force field at least. Like,
that's true. But it is interesting to see how like you kind of get the explanation mark on this world by that last scene is like they think they're safe in the most advanced technology, you know, part of the MCU, and it's like not really. You're just as screwed, if not worse. You know?
Can't get away from zombies.
No, but it does.
What are you gonna? So we're gonna say sorry?
I was gonna say like it does this. It does the worst thing is like you want more, but you'll know you may never do it. You know?
But hey, what if season 2 you could do another one? No.
Maybe you know like that is
because these cliffhangers you can so easily pick up.
Yeah, and it's like it's the cliffhangers that everybody wants to see anyway. So it's like
exactly.
You know, it's a strong possibility. You never know.
Exactly.
Not confirmation though.
But right, that's gonna bring an end to this one. So we'll catch you all next week for hopefully a more light-hearted one because they've been beating us down in the last couple. Just like Jesus. Jesus.
Yeah, a little bit more levity.
Yeah. Give me party Thor. God damn. I need happy.
That's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, I can't wait for party. I can't wait for all of them to be honest. I've been after that first episode, I've been enjoying them a lot more as each week goes on. It's really nice to have. So yeah, we'll catch you on next week. So bye bye.
Bye bye.